everyone, and welcome back to Bending the Narrative here on the Aspect Network. I'm one of your hosts, Kate Kronquist, and joining me every week to discuss the latest and greatest in the world of Avatar is Alex Batts. Alex, how are you doing?
I am doing great. Very excited to dive into this finale. It's very exciting. So, this week,
No.
we've come to the ultimate battle of season one with the episodes The Siege of the North, Part 1 and 2. Before we dive in, though, a quick reminder that the show will be going on hiatus after this week, and we will be returning in the fall to cover Book 2. But that said, before we take that break, we've got some exciting episodes to talk about. So we have episodes
No.
19 and 20, directed by Lauren McMullen and Dave Filoni, and written by John O'Brien and Aaron Ahazaz, respectively. And if you're just joining us, we'll be discussing the show in its totality. So be warned about spoilers. Obviously, we're talking about the finale. So,
The whole show.
we're here.
Yep.
The episode starts again with the gang in the Northern Water Tribe city. We have Katara facing off against these students, and she's just absolutely bodying all of them. Like we see her one by
Love
one
it.
this guy, and after she defeats him, it's revealed that she's already defeated like 10 other people. And like they're
All the
just laying on the
students, like, they're
ground.
just no match for her.
Yeah, it's just like not even close. Paku's like, does anyone want to try again? And they're all just like sitting there with like scowls on their faces. Like, obviously, we don't
Like,
want to try
in pain
again.
from being beat, and they're like, no.
Yeah, like it's not even there. It's fine. And Aang, meanwhile, is in the corner just playing and turning himself into a snowman. He's just having a good time.
He's so cute.
Um, yeah, he's hilarious. And then we cut to Sokka and Yue as they're walking around the city and talking. Sokka's talking about how the Southern Water Tribe is nothing compared to the Northern Tribe. Yue laughs at his jokes and says that this is wrong. And she's like engaged and trying to flirt with him and stuff. They're being super wholesome, which is nice, even though she's,
Mhm.
betrothed and that's a whole thing.
And Sokka's like, we're just
um,
talking, we're friends. And she's like, girl, we're not gonna be friends.
yeah, and
Mhm.
then so Sokka goes to Appa to show her Appa to make her feel better. And he takes her flying. It's really I loved the moment when she's like, "So how does this work?" And you get the close up of Sokka's face and him like
So
smirking and him being
good.
like, "Yip yip," to like get Appa to
I
fly.
don't know.
It's a
He goes,
really
yep, yep. It's like
yeah.
that, like the wait for it.
It's
It's
the
such a, it's one of
it's
those
so
jokes. It's like,
dramatic,
he is right behind me, isn't he? It's like that kind of pause.
like
And
cadence. Yeah,
I eat it up. I eat it up.
and it's also so funny. It's a great like character moment, like him going full circle and being like confidently taking Appa to go fly, as opposed to like in the very beginning of the season, him being
He was
like,
scared. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
so like taken back by it. It's great. It's full
I didn't think
circle.
about that. You're right. Yeah.
It's really cool. They're flirting on Appa as they're flying through. They almost kiss, but then don't, and it's super super awkward. And like it's just such a weird like
Like,
scene.
damn.
You're just like, oh yeah, these are a couple teenagers who like don't know what they're doing. Like it
So
happens.
cute. Oh.
And then we get black snow, and Sokka immediately realizes this, recognizes it, and says that it's a sign of an impending rain. And it's what happens when the ash from the Fire Nation ships mix with the snow. And he's like,
Hmm.
there's tons of it. And so he's like, there's going to be a big problem.
Which is so
So we
scary.
then cut.
It is a cool way, though, to
Oh,
show like how that works. Like, I love that that is a detail in it, that the
it's
smoke from
it's
their
great
ships
visual.
mixes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Isn't that
it's a
something that
great.
happens in I think in World War II in like Germany during like, I hate to bring that up right now, but
Probably
it like that is something that actually happened in war times, that it mixed with
you could
snow
tell.
while
Yeah,
there's soot. Yeah. Or
I mean,
people
I would
thought it
imagine
was
so.
snowing. That's really dark. We don't have to get into that, but
Either way, terrifying and great visual
terrifying.
storytelling
Yeah.
though to like
Hmm.
signify the like impending battle. Um,
Hmm.
we cut to Zhao, who is talking about how this is going to go down in history as a great battle of Admiral Zhao, who destroyed the last of the Water Tribe.
I do love how Zhao
Um,
always does this though. Whenever he's just about to win, he's like, "This is going to be great." He loves talking about it. He's like, "I'm going to be revered as a great general." It just shows where his priorities lay and how
yeah,
he always jumps the gun just a little bit too soon.
yeah, just like too much. He thinks too highly of himself. Bad job.
Hmm. Bad
Iroh
job.
warns him that history is not always kind to its subjects, which Zhao quickly throws back, like, "Oh, you're speaking from experience, you loser."
Boom! Like, he kind of got him there. He kind of got him there.
Yeah, I can't lie. We then cut to Zuko at the bottom of the ship, and Iroh is talking to him and asks Zuko for a plan, and Zuko says he's working on it. Um, we then cut back to the Water Tribe. They're preparing for the battle. UAC says that she can't see Sokka at all, and then he's like, "Well, we're just friends," and she does the
Like, this
stereotypical
is
like,
that
"No,
moment.
like I like you too much to just be friends. Like this can't work." And you're like,
Mm.
"Oh, okay,
I don't know
that
why I always
sucks."
think of the line in The Wolf of Wall Street where she's like, no, we're not going to be friends. So,
It's such a
not their dynamic, though.
not at all.
Not at all.
Incredible. But yeah, so like she's like, I can't do this. She's doing this for her people. And then we get the Water Tribe meeting where the leader says that some of the faces will vanish from the tribe. And we get like dramatic shots of UA and Paku and then a random person. Um, he calls upon the great spirit of the moon and ocean for help. So this is when they start really hammering home the spirits of the moon and the ocean, which will play a big
Mm-hmm.
role in this finale.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, they'll come back. So he then asks for volunteers for a dangerous mission. Sokka immediately raises his hand. Seems that he doesn't really care about his life after UA, and she cries and runs off. Very sad.
He's
So
like, if I can't,
they're such
it's
like
so
teenagers.
teenage. Yeah, it's so like Romeo, Juliet,
Like
so dramatic. He's like,
it's
I
just
guess
the
I'll go
yeah
die then on a dangerous mission. That's all there is left to life.
yeah. It's hilarious. Then we have Aang like looking out over the entire like city in a super dramatic shot. It looks like the same shot. Like it looks
From the
similar to the one in the
opening.
credits. Yeah, from the credits,
Yeah,
except
where
like
I
the
think they
background is
take
obviously
just him, but
him.
they changed the
Yeah,
background. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's rotoscoped like onto the the background. And he talks about how he wasn't there when the Fire Nation attacked his people, but he vows to make a difference this time.
Oh, I love
Which
that
is
little that
yeah,
callback too.
he's like, I'll do something now, which is cool. Um, the first fireball is shot, it hits the ice wall, it makes a giant explosion. More
Mm.
keep coming, and so now the city is officially under siege. Aang gets onto Appa and goes to fly into like battle to confront this ship. He destroys one of the fireballs on the way with his airbending. It takes a lot for him to take out this ship. Like he
Hmm.
goes onto the ship and like gets in single combat with these people.
There's like, how many
We get this
trebuchets are on this one
Fire
ship? There was
Nation
like
dude who,
six. There was like a lot.
yeah, there was a
Yeah.
lot. And there's also the dude who has like a hammer and chain that attack. Like he's
The
the most over
hammer
designed Fire
chain.
Nation soldier we see the entire season, and there's one of him. It's just such a
It's just him.
like
He has like
weird
one, he has a
thing
pigtail
that
on
they
one
threw in
side
there.
and then like three hairs on the other. It's so random.
Hmm. It's great. So he does that. He defeats the ship, and then he flies up and sees hundreds of ships on the horizon that are coming in. So
Oh,
it's gonna be a problem. Like not good. And so
not
then we cut
good.
back to Sokka, and he's with this secret mission guys. They're going to try to infiltrate the Fire Nation, and Sokka's like, "This is not the armor that they use." They're like, "What are you talking about? This is like we got this off of Fire Nation shoulder." And he's like, "What? 85 years ago?" And they're like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's
they're
such a
like
good
all of
joke.
their it's like I love this bit here where like they just are like saying all the information that they need to get, and Sokka just answers all of their questions
Like, it's like,
immediately
I have
because
all this
like
information. Yeah.
they're like, we need to find out who the commander is, and he's like, it's Admiral Zhao. Like,
He's like
and they're
middle aged
like,
guy, sideburns, grumpy, or something. Like the way he describes him is so cute.
mm-hmm. And then so Sokka's informed to report all of the info he knows about the Fire Nation to Han, which he then learns is going to be betrothed. Like that's who Yue is betrothed to. So obviously he instantly hates this dude. He
Yeah.
is
And then
not
he's like
happy
a
about it.
kind of like surfer bro who's a
Oh,
dick,
he's so obnoxious.
overconfident. Yeah.
He's the worst. Honestly, hate him.
Love Han.
So we get back to the battle, and there's fireballs just obliterating the Water Tribe. They're trying to stop them, but there's so many. Iroh says it's almost nighttime, and he advises to hold the attacks at night as the Water Tribe is more powerful with the moon. Um,
I do love how
Zhao
Iroh
says he's
understands. Like, this is just a little moment to show, like, Iroh really understands how all the nations work and how
he
all the
understands
other
the world,
benders work.
like
Yeah,
in a
like he understands the
yeah,
world.
like
He's a general for a reason.
yeah.
Was.
Zhao says that he's yeah. Zhao says that he's aware of the moon problem and is working on a solution. So he's waiting for daybreak. The Water Tribe is sees that they have stopped firing. Aang is back on the land, and he's like, "There's too many of them. I can't fight them all." And it's a really cool, I mean, cool is not the right word, but like it's a really tender moment where like he really feels the weight of
Hmm.
like he's just a single kid and he's like, I cannot do this. Like they're an entire army and I don't
Yeah.
like I don't know what to do
That
here.
is like,
Um,
because the exact line that he says, I love this line. They're like, you have to, you're the Avatar. And he's like, I'm just one kid. It's
yeah,
like, oh, he
it hurts.
is.
Yeah, he's just a single like
That
he's a 12-year-old kid. He's very
hurt.
like inequipped for this. Um,
But I like how too that emphasizes how too like amazing he is and how because
yeah.
he does end up saving him. Spoiler
Mhm.
alert, he saves everyone. But like
In case you didn't guess, the
in
Avatar kind
case
of
you
ends up
didn't
winning.
guess, um,
um,
it's
yeah,
very
it's
cute.
great. So we get back to the fire ship. We see Zuko making up a boat to leave. Iroh gives him advice in his own little way. It's great. He says, "You are fishing for an octopus. You need a tightly woven net, or he will find the teenage hole and escape." Iroh is just so great at always giving advice. He's the
I
best.
love Pyro. This conversation right here is like oh I was in tears. I was like oh my god
Yeah,
stop like
because Iroh also comes up and he's like talking about how much he cares about him, and Zuko's like, you don't have to say it. And he's like he nags on him so much
my
because ever since he lost his son, he sees Zuko and like
why
thinks of
would you
Zuko
do
as one of
this
his
to
own.
me?
And like it's so emotional. It's so good. It's so
Like I'm
strong.
gonna cry now. It's so cute. I was like, that's so sweet. Cause and then we get there with the whole leaves from the vine and
Hmm.
oh, it's
It's
just so
amazing.
good. I love their relationship so much.
They're very wholesome. And so
Very
then
good.
we get Zuko leaving, and Iroh keeps trying to give him last minute advice, which is hilarious. He just like keeps on talking to him, which is
He's like,
great.
wear your hood, stay warm, use your fire breath. Just like a
Yeah.
little parents review.
We cut back to Sokka, who Han keeps on mispronouncing his name, which is hilarious.
It's like
Um,
Soka.
and then he's also talking about Yue in a super degrading way. He's like, she's got all kinds of perks and stuff too. And Sokka's like, you are the worst. Like, I hate
Yeah.
you.
I was like, you
um,
bastard.
Yeah, and so like we get them going back and forth, and they end up fighting, and then the chief takes Sokka off of the uh mission because he's like, "All right, you're off the mission now," which is annoying for Sokka at first. It ends up working out,
Hmm.
as we'll see. Well,
Yeah.
sort of working out. It works out for a minute,
Sort
and
of.
then some stuff happens. But um, we get that. We get Zuko kayaking to the water tribe. He thinks to go over the wall, but then he sees the seal turtles diving from somewhere, and he's like, well, they have to come up
Yeah.
for air at some point, and so he follows them, and so like he goes into the water and is going to explore and see where they came from. We get then a nice scene with Yue and Katara and Aang, and is where we get like some necessary exposition lore for
Hmm.
what's gonna like unfold through the rest of this, and then the part two of the finale, where Yue is explaining how the moon was the first waterbender as it pushed and pulled the tides, and Katara's like, "Oh yeah, I have always noticed that my bending is stronger
Hmm.
at night when the moon is full." And so the ocean and the moon work together to keep balance. And Aang has an idea to ask the spirits for help. He's like, I just don't know how to get there because the last time he accidentally traveled into the spirit
Yeah, he's
world.
hmm.
And so Yue is like, oh, okay, like we can take, she's like, I know where to take you. And so she takes them to the spirit oasis. I also, before they get to the spirit oasis, I think it's so funny where they're like, you can like commune with the spirits and ask them for guidance. And he's like, or they could do like a huge attack that we can then use to
Yeah, he's
destroy
like,
the Fire
or
Nation.
we could, yeah. Which, like,
And he's like, oh,
I mean,
wisdom
they
would be good
do.
too. Yeah, it's hilarious that like it's
Yeah.
such a 12-year-old response. And then that is what ends
But
up
that is
happening.
what happens,
Like
anyways.
we get Koizilla. It's so cool. Um, but yeah, so they go to the spirit oasis. There's grass and it's super warm, and there's a pond, and like it's the only greenery in the Northern Water Tribe.
I love this little
And
detail too. Like, what a cool idea to be like, there needs to be a center where they can
yeah, connect with the
go
spirit
to
world. And
connect with the spirit world. Yeah, I do like
it's
that. Then that's warm. That's
it's the
cool
part
touch.
where all the spiritual energy is like the most intense and stuff in their
Hmm.
land, which is really cool. It's like it's an axis for the spirit world essentially, which is nice.
Yeah. Like, I guess,
So
like, maybe like the North, I wonder if like the South Pole has one. Is that explored in Korra? I wonder.
yeah, it is exploring
Because,
core
okay, okay.
because it's one of the
Because
big things that ends up. We'll get there, listeners,
that is, yeah, we'll
eventually.
get there. I was like, because that's like a big thing, right? Okay.
Yeah, we get a whole there's a lot there. But yeah, so we get that. We cut back to Zuko, who's coming up for air. He's cold and uses his firebending to warm himself up, which is so smart.
Love
Like
that. I love
that's
when they do
awesome.
that. Mhm.
I also love that like the seals are being super loud and he tells them to shut up and then they do. Like it's
It's so good. He like pushes past them and he's like, "Shut up," and they do,
and
and
they
they're
all
like,
just
"Oh,
like yeah, like all right. He
he's
travels
such a
up
little
a
prince."
waterfall, which is super cool. His whole like travel in this episode is just really cool to see him like going through. Like it's just a nice like
And just like
I don't
how
know.
dedicated he is to getting there. And also, like, I
Yeah.
remember watching this as a kid, and I would always hold my breath as long as he
As like he's
is.
underwater.
Yeah, to see if I could do it. Never could.
Hmm.
But it is cool to watch him, like, and then he gets up. We get to in another cutscene, but he like goes
Yeah.
to travel up a waterfall. Like, damn, that's
Mhm.
a lot. It's
Um,
cold.
we then cut to Sokka, who is sulking and sharpening his boomerang, and the chief tells him that he took him off the mission for a special task, which is to guard UA. Which now Sokka is of course super hyped because he gets to go find UA
He's
and
like,
hang out with her and
oh,
guard her.
okay, I
He's like,
guess.
yeah, trying to like hide his excitement. He's super hyped. Uh, we cut back to Zuko, who climbs up the stream, makes his top to get air, and then he gets to the spot that's frozen, and so he's like stuck in the water. And he uses his firebending to melt the ice and come up into the sewer, which is such a cool like scene when he just uses his hands like at the top of the
Yeah,
thing
and
and
it's like
like
it
so like
slowly pushes through.
pushes through. It's just it's so dramatic, but it's so cool. Um, so we get him. He's infiltrated into the Northern Water Tribe successfully. We cut back to Aang, who is meditating in the oasis, and Yue and Katara are like talking behind him, and it's just so funny. Where they're like, she's like, Yue's like, oh, I wonder how he's gonna like be able to do it, and he's like, if you would shut up, maybe.
He's like,
Like,
maybe I could do
he's like,
it.
I can
Like,
hear
I need
everything
full
that
concentration.
it's yeah, and
So
so
good.
we get
So
that,
good.
and then we see two koi fish circling each other
Mhm.
in the pond. One is black and one is white. And as Aang watches them, the yin and the yang sign appears, and that's how he's transported into the spirit world.
So cool. I love seeing the
So
koi
he's
fish.
then in
That's such a cool
there, and
bit.
Katara says, yeah, it's such a good visual, and like the way that they blur
Hmm.
together, and the shot we finally like puts together, and then gets transported into the spirit world. Katara says to not move his physical body, as that's his way back into the real world. And Katara's and Yue is like, maybe we should go get some help to protect him. And she's like, nah, I'm enough. I can do it. And then Zuko appears because he showed up, and
This is such a good,
it's so
like,
good.
such a good
Yeah,
moment.
we get them, standing off, and we get the 1v1 with Zuko and Katara, which is awesome.
Oh, good. I
And
love when they face off. It's always my favorite.
it's great. They're both so dramatic and so like they're also just so good at bending, obviously. And like
Yeah.
it's really cool. I like too that Zuko's like, oh, like he realizes that she's found a master because
Hmm.
like she's doing way better. And so now they like are doing like it's just such a good fight. It's such
I
a
also,
well
it's so random.
choreographed
I
fight.
love the way that like he talks to her too. He's like, "You little peasant." Like he's such a spoiled
Yeah.
little prince, and
He's
he's like,
so demeaning. Like
he's so demeaning to her, and she just wipes the floor with him. It's so good.
yeah, and I love the drama of him like almost grabbing Aang and the guitar, like getting by, like stopping him
Yes.
and then like trapping him in an ice wall. It's very cool. We then see Paku, and we cut to him. We see the sunrise and the Fire Nation start their attack again. We get back to the Oasis, and Zuko sees the sunrise and blasts her away. And he goes, "You rise with the moon, I rise with the sun." Such a
Mm,
great like line, and
ours.
he's holding Aang at this point, like he's
Yeah.
got him.
I
It's
do
such a cool
like
shot,
this is the
honestly, with
detail
him.
too about the sun and the moon and water
Mhm.
benders and fire benders. I do love that little bit.
Oh, it's
And
so
the
good.
witch
And like,
shot
yeah,
of him holding.
yeah, the shot of him holding Aang whenever he says that is just like the
Oh,
most
but like
dramatic.
over his back. Yeah.
You see the sun behind him. Oh, it's great. Um, so then Katara wakes up and Aang is gone. Appa appears and they don't know where Aang is. And we cut to above the huge wall surrounding the oasis and Zuko carrying Aang off. And that's the end of part one of Siege of the North.
Hmm.
But we're jumping right into part two because we're covering the finale just as one.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing. So the attack continues. The fish circle in the pond. Katara's very upset that she lost Aang. She's like, I don't know where he is. Momo shows up and stays in the oasis. He's so cute. He just curls up and just like
I
stays
know.
there.
He's like,
He's
where
like
is he? And they're
the
like,
most
Momo, stay here.
adorable.
And he's like, okay. Like he listens. Go, Momo.
Yeah, and he just curls up. Appo flies off above the ice to find Zuko's trail. We get Aang in the spirit world, and he's in like a swampy area. We meet a monkey who just wants him to leave. He's like, "Can you get out of here, please? Like, I'm trying to chill."
So funny.
He's like, "You're
Who
still
is? I wonder
here."
who this monkey spirit is. We never get much information on him, do we?
Yeah, he's just a cool. Because like I'm trying to think, and I don't think that he shows back up in Korra either. Like I think that he's just
Yeah,
he's just chilling
like a
there, like
one-off
which is
joke.
hilarious.
Yeah.
He I can't remember. He might show up in the episodes where we get like the first Avatar in the spirit world,
Oh.
maybe, but I can't remember. I
Hmm.
might be, maybe not. Either way, he's just a funny dude who tells Aang to screw off. Essentially, he's like, "Leave,
Mhm.
please," and he's like, "Follow this other thing." And so Aang chases it, and in the water he sees Roku. Cut back to
Mhm.
Zuko, who's almost throwing or falling through broken ice. He finds a cave to tie Aang up because there's a
Which,
blizzard going
oh,
on.
I just realized this is for way later, but I love that sometimes they do this where like they show Yue, then immediately a shot of the moon, or they show like as like
Mhm,
a foreshadowing thing. I just
mhm.
realized like they show Roku, then immediately show a shot of Zuko, which comes up way later in this season as a big reveal. But
Yeah,
I just realized that that might
that's
have been.
good.
I wonder if that was on purpose.
Intentional. Yeah,
Hmm.
probably. But so yeah, he's got to find a cave to tie Aang up and to like camp out in because there's a blizzard going on because they are at the North Pole. And so we cut back to Aang, who Roku says the ocean and the moon spirit are in the real world, not in the spirit world. And Aang needs to find the only spirit old enough to know where they are, which is Ko the Face Stealer. So this is when we get introduced to Ko.
Hate this guy.
Oh, the worst.
I
He's terrible.
oh it's like nightmares as a kid. I hated
Uh,
that.
Roku warns Aang to show no emotion at all, or else he will steal his face, which is terrifying. Um, we cut back to Appa, and Sokka and Katara and Yue are deep in the snowy land. They see nothing. Zuko is in the cave with Aang with a fire. He says that he can't get home because of the blizzard. I love how he's like, "There's always something." Like he's like, "I've got you now,
I
but
do,
we got."
yeah. He's like,
He's like,
there's
"If it's
always
not
something in the way.
if it's not one thing, it's something else." Like it's just such a funny like. He's just like stuck, and you're
Random
just
line
like,
to
"Oh
point out.
man." Yeah,
This
like
poor guy.
um he also then mentions his sister.
Mm.
So hype. He's like I'm so excited. Amazing. So he
For new
mentions his
listeners,
sister.
Alex loves Azula, favorite character. If you couldn't tell from the
uh
poster,
yeah, if you had no idea. But so
best
he's like
character.
says that everything always came easy to her. um Says that she's a firebending prodigy and that her father says that she was born lucky and Zuko was lucky to be born, which like God
Bars.
damn, that's such a
What?
that
Like,
is
that's.
so
Imagine your
that's so
dad
called
saying
out.
that to you. Jesus. Like, any parental
It's
figure saying that to you, like, damn.
it's so funny though. It's like comedic how much
How
he
hard
absolutely
that is.
and how much like Ozai adores Azula and just completely hates Zuko. Like it's
That's insane.
crazy. It does such a good
Wild.
job and like just these couple lines though because he also says that like he's always had to struggle and fight and that's made me strong, it's made me who I
Mm.
am. And like great line, but also just in these couple lines we get so much about their dynamic, which is
Yeah.
going to be so important going forward in the series. And like up until this we've only seen her in the one shot
In the
in
one
the storm
shot
episode,
in the storm.
and we don't even know like who she is, we just
Mhm.
see her, right? And like it's so great that
It's
they're like
great.
laying the seeds for this. Amazing. So we come back to the battle, we see the iron tanks again and the waterbenders can't really do much to stop them. We also get the Komodo rhinos, right? It's the Komodo
Kimono
dragon
Rhinos are
rhinos.
back, yeah.
Yeah, terrifying, absolutely terrifying. No thanks.
No thanks.
The Fire Nation troops are moving in steadily. Iris says the Water Tribe will be undefeatable if they can't defeat them before the full moon rises. And then
Hmm.
Zhao is like, "Well, I know something about the moon that you don't." Um,
Hmm.
we then get Han stepping in, and he's like, "I'm gonna take you
He
down," and
pops
like
up.
runs at him, and Zhao just
He calls him like
immediately throws him overboard and is like,
Admiral Choi.
"Admiral Choi," yeah, and then like Zhao just sidesteps him and throws him overboard, and he's like, "Anyways, back to what I was saying," and it's
Back to what I was
like
saying.
and we never see Han again.
And we
He
never
just
see Han again.
doesn't
I'm
show
like,
back
does
up.
Han die there?
Like he just gets thrown off and falls from the top of
I,
it. Like it's fine, no big deal.
we don't need to think about it.
And so yeah,
I think he
so
dies there.
Zhao says that we can headcanon that he dies there. It's
We
fine.
can, and he dies there.
They
Yeah.
couldn't officially say it on the show because like no one can really like
Yeah.
can't
But he
kill
does in the
people
live
really,
action. He dies.
even yeah, they were like, we'll make that official.
Yeah.
um, so we say Zhao saying that he's found the moon spirit's mortal form. So he says that when he was in the Earth Kingdom, he discovered a secret library, which will come into play later.
Ooh.
Iroh angrily makes the point that spirits must not be trifled with. And he's like, Zhao is like, yeah, I've heard about your trips into the spirit world, which is like, they're
Which,
just laying so many different, like, huge
you
things down
right?
here. Like,
I was like, wait, what?
it's incredible.
And does that ever really,
Like, just
that
casually
never gets
mentioning that.
addressed later in this? Only in Korra
No,
that
because, like,
gets
I mean, like,
talked about,
not,
right?
yeah, because because he's in the spirit world in Korra. Spoilers for Korra. Because, like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's in the spirit world in Korra. But, like, yeah, they never really explain it, though. Like, he just,
They
Iroh's
never
just
really talk
that,
about this,
he's
yeah.
just that
Because that's
dude.
why previously
Like,
he was able, I mean, he was able to see
see
Aang in the spirit
Aang,
world on Roku.
yeah. Hmm.
And everybody was like,
But,
what?
like, Iroh is just him, essentially. Like, it's just,
Iroh is him. Iroh is
um,
that guy.
so yeah, Zhao essentially just says that he has like because of the scroll, he has deduced what the moon and ocean spirits' mortal forms are in the like mortal world, and so he's gonna find them and kill them because Zhao is terrible, essentially.
Chao is
Um,
also that guy.
so that guy derogatory.
That guy
And so,
derogatory.
and so we come
I'm
back
getting
to Aang in the
t-shirts made with
spirit
that.
world. We go back to Aang in the spirit world. We see him like really exploring the spirit world, which is cool. It's very like wonky, and there's some weird music. He's seen a monkey without a face, which is terrifying. He talks about
Hmm.
not showing fear with Roku's voice. He's like, no, I can't. I like that they blend his and Roku's voice here. They like make them
Yes.
like they're morphing into one almost. You see like his past lives coming forward,
Yeah.
which is really cool. Um, Aang meets Ko, comes face to face with
And
Ko.
he,
Um,
ha 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 ha. Great joke. Great joke, Alex. Oh. Bruh.
um, so we see Ko is terrifying. He's a creepy centipede with like multiple
I
human faces.
hate
His
it.
face can just like
I hate
because
it.
like he
And
steals
like the
faces, so he
noise
just
it
has a
makes.
yeah, it's
Oh,
awful.
it's like
Uh,
a
so we
squish.
get
I don't
Ko
like it.
trying to scare Aang, but he just like shows no emotion. He's just blank face, which it's so funny seeing Aang so like deadpan
Emotionless.
and just
Yeah.
like no, yeah, nothing. And Ko's just messing with him the whole conversation. Like he's just like
Trying to
changing
get him to
faces,
react.
moving
Yeah.
around, like just being as antagonistic as he possibly can.
He's so freaky.
Um,
I
he says
hate.
that one
Ooh,
of the previous avatars tried to kill Ko because he stole the face of someone that he loved. And so, like, again, just more deep lore
lore.
tidbits being dropped. Yeah, like we're learning more about one of Aang's other past lives, which we'll get into way later on. But like, it's just nice little like drops that they're leaving there that like are seeds that we'll come back to, which is
Mhm.
cool.
And I do like in that
Um,
scene, it changes from the girl's face immediately to this like howler monkey or whatever those are.
mhm.
It scares Aang. It's freaky. And I'm like, it is
And
like, I'm like, they could write a really good horror movie, these guys.
yeah, they do a good job. And
Yeah.
then we get Aang like doing deep breaths in the spirit world, which is then used as a transition to like Aang breathing in the real world, which is just great. I
Love that. It's so
like
creative.
gotta love a good match cut. And
Yeah.
so we get that back to Zuko in the cave, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna be here for a while. This sucks." Again, just him being like, "Damn." And
Yeah.
then we cut to like Yue and Katara and Sokka on Appa trying to find Aang. Katara's worried that they'll die in the blizzard, and Sokka's like, "Well, if there's one thing we know about Zuko, it's that he's not going to give up. Like they're going to be fine," which is
Hmm.
like so true, honestly. Like
Yeah.
it's great. And so we get back to the spirit world, and he says Aang is saying that he needs to find the moon and the ocean spirit, and Ko says their names are Tua and La. Tu and
Twee.
La.
Twee and law.
Twee. Yeah, that's right.
Sir.
Tweet and Law. I know. I literally just watched it too. It's fine. Um, it's Tweet and Law, so it's push and pull, life and death, good and evil, yin yang, all that fun stuff.
Yin
Gotta
and
love the
yang.
balance. Um,
Which I do love. Like, this is something I point out. Like, the map is also kind of a little bit of a yin and yang. Is it not? Or am I crazy? I always thought the map kind
kind
of looked
of.
like a little yin and yang symbol.
So I could see see it.
That could be, or it could just be a circle. But
It's almost like it's a
I,
globe.
oh
No,
my god,
I'm
it's a
sorry.
globe. Anyways, off topic, but yeah,
um,
the
no, it's
yin and
cool.
yang.
And then him talking about this, Aang realizes that they're the koi fish that we saw in the pond,
Mhm.
and so that's cool. We now like are like, oh, the koi fish are the immortal versions of the moon and ocean spirits,
Mhm.
and so he's like, all right, I gotta get out of here. We get Ko creepily vanishing after he's like, we'll meet again. It's like, I hope not, dude. You suck.
Yeah.
Don't want to see you again. And then we get Heibai, the panda spirit, helping us
Yay!
guide Aang back, which is so cool. I love
So
seeing him.
cute. And
He's great.
what a great throwback. What a great way to be like, oh, the things that you did in the
Hmm.
past are why you have friends here now. And
Helping you. Yeah,
it
it's like a
matters.
rewind.
Other episodes.
Yeah. And so then we get back to the battle. We get the waterbenders fighting hard against the troops now that it's night and there's a full moon. Paku is going ham on all these guys. The tanks are being blown away. Zhao is on a rhino who's feeding on the fish, which is terrifying.
Ugh.
We then come back to the spirit world. Aang is on Heibai. Heibai helps him back to his body. The meme monkey is like, good riddance. And then I love Heibai
This
changing
is such
into
a
his
good
angry
moment.
form and like yelling at him. It's so funny. Like,
Just like
it's just such
blasting
a,
him with this energy. It's so great.
yeah,
And I love that. And then he transforms right back to little happy panda. And
to the panda. Yeah, he just like yells at him for a
then
second.
he's
It's
like,
amazing. Uh, he we then get Aang returning to his the mortal world, but in his spirit form.
he's like, where the hell is my body?
But then he just like immediately like goes and finds it super quickly, which I think is hilarious that he like didn't like he's not. I mean, he's just evolved, I guess, and so it's fine. And so he like
Yeah.
shoots back to his body, and Katara sees his spirit like travel to the cave, and so Aang wakes up at his body. Zuko welcomes him back, and then he uses airbending from his mouth to like throw Zuko across the wall, and then also shoot himself
Which
out of the
Zuko, you
cave.
forgot,
And
and can use
then
his mouth.
yeah, like come on, man,
Constantly
missed
forgets.
opportunity.
Yeah.
But then Zuko grabs him still, but then Appa flies down, and we get Katara versus Zuko again, and then Katara just absolutely wipes the floor with him. Like it's not even. She takes him out with one move. Like there's no
That's
contest.
my
Like
girl.
he
That's my girl.
just absolutely knocks him out, and they're all going to like leave, and then he's like, "No, we can't leave him. He'll die." Which this is not the second time that Aang is like, I can't leave him. It would be bad."
Mm-hmm.
And I love Sokka being like, "Yeah, this is smart. Let's take the guy who's always trying to kill
To
us."
kill us with us. Yeah. But I do love like
um,
that. What a great moment with Aang. And it just really shows Aang's character and how
mhm.
kind he
It's
is. And
like
I
he's
mean,
good.
they have to save him because
He's
it comes
important.
back later.
Plot
He's important.
relevance. Come on, we need him for later on.
We need him for later in
Like,
the plot, guys. Duh.
yeah, of course. And so then we cut to the koi fish. Zhao grabs the blackfish. We see the moon and everything else turn red. And okay,
I love this.
I saw this in your notes. Hard disagree. I think it looks bad here too. I know we talked about it, and
What?
like I get what they're going for. It doesn't work for me. It's
I
not.
just love the idea that it turns red.
It,
I think that's
it's a
so cool. What a great
it's a
concept.
it's a great concept. I don't think it translates well. I think it looks bad. I
Really?
just yeah, it doesn't work. I think later on when
In the
it
live
turns into
action, I
like
think it doesn't work, but I think it looks
I
cool.
also yeah, it definitely doesn't it looks worse there, but
Definitely
like
doesn't work there.
yeah, rewatching this I was like, "Oh, this is significantly worse than I remembered it looking." I just think it doesn't look right.
It
I'm
only
sorry.
lasts for a little bit, but it's like
No, yeah, but I mean,
it's
it's
like
a cool
symbolizing
concept.
wrath.
No, I mean, it's cool. Like again, great in concept. I just don't think it looks good. It you lose so much of the like depth and dimension, and it literally is just like they put a red pass filter over it, and it like I don't.
But it's cool though.
It's a
That's
cool
all that
idea. It doesn't.
matters.
It does not. Rule of
Well,
cool does not apply
that
if it
sucks
doesn't
for you,
look good.
Alex.
Anyways, so
Anyways,
we now have
agreeing
our
to
red.
disagree.
We now have our red filter over the entire show for the next 5 minutes, and waterbending stops. Firebending is super powerful. Yue and Aang feel super faint. Um, and then we get Yue telling the story of how her life is like the moon spirits because she was born like super weak, and they brought her to the oasis, and the moon spirit was able to give her some of its life force. That's why her hair is turned white, and then she's totally fine, and she's named Yue for the moon. And so
Mhm.
like that's super cool. Again, like cool backstory and lore stuff for her, and like tying her in with the more moon spirit is
Yeah.
great. We get Zhao being the most megalomaniac dude he could possibly be. He's just like, I'm a legend now. I'm the best. Zhao who darkened the moon. Like, ah. And then Momo attacks him and he's like, get this thing off of me. Like, I can't. Like, he
So
turns
good.
into
Great bit.
like,
Great bit.
like, it's so funny. We love Momo being useful and not dying. Um,
We'll get
and then,
there. We'll get there.
yeah, we'll get there. So now we get Aang and Zhao facing off. Zhao threatens to kill the moon spirit, and Aang says that will make the world unbalanced.
Mhm.
Iroh shows up and is agreeing with
Oh,
Aang, and he's like, "The
my
Fire
favorite line
Nation
here.
needs the moon too. Whatever you
Mhm.
release on the moon spirit, I'll unleash on you tenfold." Which are like, hell yeah, Iroh,
Bars, Iroh. I do
get
love
him.
this one. Iroh's like, I'm not playing around. I am not playing around anymore. This is serious. I'm not hiding. Like, because I feel like Iroh does this big thing where he wants everybody to think he's like fun and kind to like underestimate his like real strength. Because he
Yeah,
actually is like, I mean, he's part of the White Lotus. He's one of the most powerful guys out
but
there.
yeah, like he's amazing, and there's a reason
Yeah,
he was called. I'm blanking on his name, but the
General.
dragons.
Yeah, the Dragon of the West.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, so the Zhao like puts it back and then immediately slashes the fish with firebending and it dies. And so then
Woo!
everything goes black and white. I think
Love
this
this
one
too.
works because the black and white, I feel like there's more depth to, but then everything that's lit by the fire gets like
The
lit
lighting, yeah.
appropriately.
I just
Yeah,
love
which
that. I
like
just love the concept of like everything is red, and then by killing that and the moon disappearing, everything turns black and white. I think that's so cool. I
yeah,
just love how that idea.
incredible concepts on both parts.
Mhm.
I will say the red is a good concept. I just don't like the way it looks. I don't think it looked good. The black and white
Well,
though,
that sucks for you.
the black and white looked great, and yeah, the lighting of just like the fire lit sections are amazing.
That's really
Also,
cool that those are colored.
the sound design for the fire blasts are so good all of the time. Like great, just
Oh,
like
like the
every time they like shoot, yeah, like they're all just like done so well. It's a really good
right. I
sound
never think
signature.
about that too much or listen to them, but yeah, you're right. There are. It's like
I especially notice it whenever like Zuko and Zhao are fighting later on, when like 5 minutes. But like it's really like emphatic, and you really like feel it with each of the blasts.
and they're
Um,
great because like how do you not get like a mechanical fire sound? You know what I mean? Like any
yeah, it's
fire
a very
blast
like
that we hear
organic.
today is made by machines. Like how
Mhm.
did yeah, they got like an organic fire sound,
Yeah, it's really
which
cool.
is good.
So Iroh then starts to attack. Zhao sees how powerful he is and tries to run. Aang and the others are saddened by the dead fish. We see Zuko has escaped his restraints. Iroh picks up the dead fish. Yue is crying. And then suddenly Aang lights up and he's like, no, it's not over. And he steps into the pond,
Love it.
sinks down, and then all of the water lights up blue and he becomes Koizilla. Like he's
It's
just,
so cool.
it's insane.
I
It's such a cool
love
sequence.
the overlaid voice. I love him walking out onto the water, and then I love him just sinking into the water. Cool
Mhm.
bit. I love all the lights going. It's
I
just
love the
so
way the
good.
water like flows and like gets larger, like the
Yes.
wave going through and
Yes.
like past Appa, just like chilling there, which is so
I was
funny.
like, hmm.
And
Okay.
then yeah, we get him emerging as the giant Koizilla spirit. It's awesome. And he's like in
So
the middle
great.
in his like the heart of energy where he's
Hmm.
just in the avatar spirit and is just now like I mean, he's Koizilla. He starts wrecking
It's so
all of them.
awesome. And
Zhao
what
I
is
was
it? I think
trying
like they explain it. It's that the ocean spirit took over Aang. Is that what it
Yes, it's the
was?
vengeful
Yeah.
ocean spirit is what they're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because of like his connection, he's used as like the conduit as the avatar
Hmm.
for the ocean spirit. Which
For the ocean spirit. Yeah.
uh
Hey.
we cut to Zhao running away. Zuko catches him, and they start fighting. Zhao is like, "You're the blue spirit. You suck." And then we get them fighting. Their fight is
I
awesome.
love when they fight. It's
Yeah,
so good.
it's really good. It's always the show is so good with all of the bending fights. Like I always want to be like, oh, it's so
Hmm.
cool when we see like a waterbender versus waterbender, or firebender versus like any of the combinations are always just so
Hmm.
good because they just nail the choreography like
And I
across the
do like
board.
that
Like
they like you can obviously see the power levels at play and like what level each person is at too.
mhm.
Like
And
you
their
can
personality also shines through in the way that they
yes.
fight. Like it's very good. Um, and then we cut to Iroh, Katara, and Sokka and Yue mourning the dead fish, and then Iroh because he's him is like you've been
Yeah.
touched by the moon spirit.
He's like, hey, you got white hair. And also her eyes
Eyes are still
are
blue.
blue
Yeah,
because of the um moon
moon
spirit.
spirit. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then so she's like she can give her life back to the fish. Sokka doesn't want her to do it because he loves her, obviously, and she's like, "This is my duty." She puts her hand on the fish and
Mm.
dies. It's very sad. It's a great
But I
emotional
love her being
sequence of
like,
her.
"This is what I'm meant to do," and she's
I
like,
also
"Nope,
do.
I'm."
I think it's almost comedically funny how quickly she dies because of like
Yeah,
it's a 23-minute episode and they have a lot of plot points they got to hit here. But like she just like puts it on the fish and then like falls into his arms and
there
he's
she
like, "She's
goes.
gone," and that's it. And then like I also love like
Yeah.
the way that her body disappears Force Ghost style. Like she just
Force Ghost.
like
I
that's
do. I always
like
wonder that. I was like, why does her body just disappear?
like her energy is just completely gone now. But then she gets the crazy. I mean, then she comes back Force Ghost style and is like super. She has a cooler
Yes, the
outfit
spirit.
now and is like all like magnificent. And then Sokka gets to kiss a Force Ghost, which is pretty cool for him,
Is
I
a Force
guess.
Ghost.
Like, sure. Um,
You a
we
Force
get
Ghost. Love it.
all the Fire Navy ships retreating. Aang as the Ocean Spirit is just attacking them, and he's just wrecking them. Like honestly, he's just
Hmm.
like slashing them around. Just like yeah, it's
This
just
is like
bitch
me
slapping the
as a
Fire
kid
Nation.
in the pool with all of like the pool toys. Just
Yeah, like he's
I
just
would pretend to do this after school when this first
it's
came
just
out.
not even close.
Not even close.
So then after Yue disappears, the angry giant Koizilla sees that the moon is back and returns to Aang. Zuko and Zhao's fight finishes. They're on top of a bridge and they're going through all that. And then Zuko is getting the better of him. And then
Hmm.
the Koi spirit like comes around the bridge and takes Zhao into the ocean. And Zuko's like trying to help him, but then Zhao refuses his help. He's like, "Nah, screw
His
you."
pride takes
Like,
over. He's like, I'd rather die than be helped by a
yeah,
traitor. Like, oh my God. Like,
so
that
good.
is just, and then he dies.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I feel like that's the implication
It's
here. Like
implied.
it
Yeah.
has to. Like, and so yeah, the battle is won. We then cut to daylight. Aftermath of the battle, Aku says he wants to head to the South Pole and take some people with him to like help rebuild the tribe, which is pretty cool. Um,
Mm.
Katara's like, well, then we'll have no one to like. Aang needs a master, and he's like, well, I guess then he'll like need to get used to calling you like Master Katara, which is great because like she
That's a cute
rocks.
one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because she
it's cool.
rocks.
And then that's also, I mean, it's cool for like Paku, like the character growth, him being like, you are like valid, you're good, obviously.
Valid.
Yeah.
He says that. He's like, yeah, you're valid.
Mhm. The chief talks to Sokka about Yue, and he says that he knew that this would happen one day. He's proud and sad, and like, why did you? It's a weird thing to just be like, yeah, I knew this would happen at some point. Like, what you
I mean,
knew
he
that?
says he's like, I got a vision that she would become the moon. I think maybe it was more of like she would have died anyway. So I'm glad I got to even spend this
Some
amount of
time with
time
her.
with her. Yeah.
Yeah. It felt to me like the same as like
It
Katara
did.
a
Yeah.
few episodes ago, being like, I always knew this. And
I
it's like,
guess
oh,
I
did
always
you?
knew. Like they were like,
Did you?
we kind of just gotta do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get Zuko and Iroh are on a makeshift raft. They're like leaving. Iroh's comforting Zuko and tells him to rest some.
Mm.
Zuko is beat up. Bro has gone through it.
Bro's gone through it in this
Yeah.
episode. He fights how many different people? He fights so many different people in this. He almost
Yeah.
dies multiple times in that cold
He gets
water. His face is all beat
he gets
up. Poor
bodied
kid.
by Katara multiple times, fights Zhao.
Multiple times.
Like, yeah.
And he
So they're
just keeps
resting
going.
and going
It's good,
away.
yeah.
And then we
Iroh's like
get
a
Aang and
man
Katara.
needs to rest. It's so
Yeah. And
cute.
he's like, I guess you're right. And like
He's like, oh
just
my god,
rest.
yeah.
And so we cut back to Aang and Katara. They're hugging. Momo's invited to join on the hug, and then we see Sokka next to them, and then Appa joins. So we get a nice like final shot of the gang as they're looking over at the sunrise and the daylight. And then we dramatically cut to the Fire Lord, and he's like, Iroh is a traitor, and Zuko is a failure. And he's like, I have a
Also,
job for
the
you.
first time we hear his voice, Mark
Yeah.
Hamill.
Oh, iconic. Which
So
is so,
good.
like, it's so Mark Hamill. Like, he's hamming it up so much. It's so great.
Good. He is
And
such an
then,
underrated
yeah,
voice actor. Like that is truly what he was meant to do.
it's amazing. And so,
Well, he's
yeah,
not
he's like,
underrated.
I mean, dude's
We all know
Joker.
he's good. I know he's the Joker. Why did I say that? I was like, he's not underrated though.
I do feel like a lot of people like don't really like think about it though. Like it's
I
kind
mean,
of
the
like
first thing you
like
think of
underrated.
obviously is yeah.
But yeah. So we get him, and he's like, "Your brother Zuko's a failure," and he's like, "I have a job for you." And we get Azula being teased. We see Azula,
Azula!
and she's like, got a smirk on her face, and then that's the end of the season. That's the end of the book. We did it. We made
Boom.
it here. it's wild.
We did
I
it,
mean, yeah,
guys.
it's
We
a
did it,
super
Joe. You're
satisfying.
president of the United States.
It's a super satisfying like end to the book. Like they got to the Northern Water Tribe. We now have a waterbending master for Aang. He's messed around with it some. We got a
Mhm.
lot of character stuff. We got a lot of lore stuff. We got a cool, awesome final battle and siege of an entire like city.
So great.
Koizilla's awesome.
We got to see a
Like
lot of great
there's
avatar power. We got like a lot of questions answered, I feel, and now we have a lot of good new questions to answer within the
yeah,
next
and like
season. It's like, yeah,
they laid down a lot of seeds to be like to spring in the future books. Like
yeah.
they're gonna be good. It's good stuff. So yeah, I
It's
mean,
good stuff. God, it's so exciting. It's so exhilarating. I love these two episodes. I think too it says the creators of the show. This is their favorite episode as well. They
which
love
is
this
just
last battle.
it's I mean
It's
it's really well done.
really well done. It feels like cinematic, I guess is the way to explain it. Like it just feels
Mhm.
I don't like that's the only word I know how to describe that.
I love
So good.
the different like the components of it as like the different characters in the different places and how like there's different things happening at different times throughout.
Yes.
Like while like the entire
All
time
the
the place
different
is like
storylines.
under siege. Like you have Zuko traveling to get there, and then you have them in the Oasis, and then like they have to look for Aang, and like he's in the spirit world at one point for a minute, and like there's just so many things going. Like so much happens in these two episodes.
Yes.
Honestly, like
Yeah.
it's wild. It's impressive, and it all feels
It's
very like paced super well, and like there's so many moments where you're just like, oh, this is awesome, and then you're like, oh, this is so cool, and then like it
it
just
keeps you so
continues to do
hooked.
that.
Like you can't look away.
Yeah, it's great.
Every line is valuable.
Yeah.
Until
So
then.
yeah,
All right. Anything
that's
else
the
you want to say on
finale.
it? That's the
Not
finale.
until the live action comparison,
Not
but
until the live action. So yeah, when we come back, guys, we are going to talk more about that episode and how it compares to the live action counterpart. So we will be right back.
hi, I'm Alex. Enjoying this show on the Aspect Network? Then you should check out my show, Philosophy of X. Each week, I pair an X-Men character, story, or concept with a relevant philosophical topic and explore how the two relate to one another. Join me on my journey to examine the world of X-Men through philosophy. And now, back to the show. Welcome back to Bending the Narrative. Each week, we dive into Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender live action series. And while you can find our overall thoughts on the season in our very first episode, throughout book one, we've been discussing in further detail how each episode compares to its live action version. And while we spent a significant amount of time talking about the finale in our first episode, Kate, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on how Netflix adapted the finale after sitting with it for a few months?
I think the same thing you said on our last week episode. I we were really harsh. We were a little harsh. We were really harsh on it. Rewatching it, I was like, okay, it wasn't as bad as I remember. It was actually pretty okay.
They do it pretty beat for beat. I can't lie.
Yeah, like, and that's why it's good. I'm like, oh, okay, they kind of copied it almost exactly. So that's why I liked it and why it was good and why it worked. It was like storyline. This is good. Again, I watched it again, 1.5 times speed. That I it was just so slow. It was killing me. It was also late. I wanted to get done with it fast, but I was like, oh, that helps.
Yeah,
The
I
pacing.
think I will say I do think that while the Katara and Zuko fight in the live action one is still like solid, it's not the same as
It's
like
nothing. Yeah.
it's
It's
like we were
still
talking about
not
last week with the Paku and Katara one. Like you just with all of the bending fights, you lose a lot of the like scale and like speed and just like it's not as dynamic or as cool. Like it's still a cool fight to see, but
mhm.
it's not the same.
It's not as great. And I made notes too of everything that they changed and what they made different. A lot of things there's again a lot of things that I'm like, why? Why would you change that? You don't have to. They were saying like in the beginning it's just Aang that goes to fight the ships or one of the ships,
Yeah.
and then
He
we
like tells
start
them to
off the
hold back.
episode with he tells them to hold back. We have Katara, Sokka, and Aang all together fighting the ships head on. And then when Zuko is underneath with Iroh, and Iroh brings up his son, and he's like, "You don't have to say it." Instead, in this one, Zuko brings up Lu Ten. He's like, "I know you lost your son, Lu Ten." Audience, if you didn't know about that, like
It's really weird for
you
Zuko
can
to be
imply
bringing
it.
that up. That's very like
Yeah,
not that's the wrong character to be doing that.
That's why I was like, that feels wrong. And why? It literally could have been you could have done the exact scene. It works.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then Sokka is actually the one to lead the battle plans, and Han, like, cause they're going to him, and Sokka's like, okay, we should do this. We should do this. I do like a thing that they do where they go up to Aang and they're like, Avatar Aang, what should we do? How should we beat them? And Aang is like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to do this. I was like, I'm just a kid, which I thought that was a good addition, actually.
Yeah.
And then we have, Zhao already has his hot air balloon from Omashu for this, but actually, I don't think it was used. Oh, it was used. That's how he gets
Oasis.
into Oasis, which I thought that was a good way to get there.
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no mention of the grand plot line, which
that thing is just dropped completely.
That's dropped completely, which I get. Like that, you don't really need that. You can get there other ways.
Also like, I do think it's just like, and I kind of felt this way in the animated thing too, where like it's a weird plot line that they put in there to just like make the connection between the two tribes.
You're like, how convenient.
Like, Katara to like, it's just a really like, I mean, it makes sense and it's like there's no problem with it obviously, but it's like, okay, I like, of course Paku was engaged to or betrothed to like Katara's grandmother, I suppose.
Like, I suppose, yeah.
It's one of those things that oddly makes the like world feel like a little bit smaller, which the show's normally really, really good about not doing. Like normally it feels a lot. They do things that make it feel larger. Yeah, but it's like, oh.
I mean, I like the information that Grand was. Apparently. Yeah, I like that Grand was in the Northern Water Tribe. I think that's interesting. So technically, Kantara and Sokka are part of that tribe.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but regardless, another thing that was different is Yue. Like Yue actually wants to fight. She wants to get in the battle, and she's like, "I need to help my people." She wants to. But her dad is like, no, you need to stay protected. And she's like, okay. Oh, and Han, like, doesn't actually like her. Han doesn't care. Han is, like, nice. So Han is cool.
Oh, yeah, we have that weird moment where, like, he, like, does the kind of gross, like...
He's like, she's yours.
Thing to Sokka,
to
Sokka, where she's like, that's not how that works, but sure, man. Like, I guess.
She wasn't yours. Yeah. It's kind of. And I like that Yue, in this one, Yue broke off the engagement. I think we talked about this last week. Yue breaks off their engagement instead of it being that.
They don't even address it. They
don't even address it. Yeah.
There's a scene again, and then he dies,
just dies. So interesting. Yeah. This is actually, I think, the first time we're like, we kind of like some of the changes here going on.
Yeah. And then, that's nice.
Yeah. We get, Zhao gets his info from a fire sage instead of the, not the temple, the library. So this is why I hint to, I think they're not going to get the library at all.
Yeah.
Because they don't even, there's just some fire sage out there who I guess knows everything.
Yeah, knows a lot.
Thank God.
Like, he's
how convenient. Guy. He's the lore guy. Thank God they have him. And then we have, and then there's a weird thing where Aang is talking to Karuk as instead of Roku to help with this battle, and Karuk is like, I detect that my knife is near that Zhao has, and like Zhao needs this knife that Karuk had to kill the moon spirit.
Yeah, because we don't get Ko in this episode at all, correct?
Yeah, we don't. No, we get a flashback. We get like a very quick flashback.
Karuk stuff. Okay, but it still bothers me that Karuk is in this.
I know.
As opposed to it being Roku.
It is weird.
And I get it's because like Karuk is the one that's directly related to Ko and stuff, but it's like we don't need him yet.
We don't need it. But it's weird, like it's just a weird thing, like his knife, I guess. I was like, well, that was an okay plot point, but it's weird that the spirit is like, I detect it is near.
Yeah.
Okay. And then my favorite, Momo fucking dies.
Yeah, for some reason they're like, hey, let's do that.
It's so weird. He literally jumps out to save a girl, and they're like, no, I was laughing so hard. It's so funny. Why did he kill the monkey?
It's such a comically abrupt thing, too. Like,
It's so
I don't
weird.
understand.
Anyways, then we see the Spirit Oasis. I do love. I
The
think
set for the
I
Spirit
mentioned this.
Oasis
Yeah,
is sick. It's really
I
cool.
do like that they make it like it's a big forest, and so the Water Tribe can get wood from there, or they can actually like use it as a spot, kind of to
Hmm.
maybe plant things. Like I like that they make it this larger thing, and that there's trees all around. They kind of have to go through the trees to find the center.
Yeah.
Because in the animation we just see it's a small little plot of land with some bamboo.
Yeah. It's a they did a really good job with that set. I will give them
Yeah.
that. It looks really cool.
There you get these few things. We're being very generous today. Very, very generous. We also talk about that Zhao doesn't know what the spirits look like and makes Iroh help him because apparently it's kind of implied that Iroh knows what they look like
Hmm.
already. Um, Aang, oh,
Makes
so
sense
Aang and
because Iroh
Zhao,
is him.
yeah, because Iroh, Iroh is him. T-shirts linked below, guys. Iroh is
Zhao
him.
Zhao is him. Derogatory.
Derogatory on the back. That'd be so good. Little hat that says that, some bumper stickers. Anyways, then we have Aang and Zhao talking about the fish together, and Zhao was like, "Oh, you could have." He says somewhere he's like, "You haven't been here all these time," and Aang's like, "Yeah, I forget what he says, but there's an interesting conversation there that we don't get them talking really at all in this episode because Aang is in the spirit world
Yeah.
that whole time, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And by the time he comes back, Zhao's already done his stuff. Like he's like, no,
Mhm.
don't do it. Like we need the fish or like the spirits because it'll throw everything out of balance. And then that's when
Yeah.
Iroh shows up and is like, yeah, I'll beat your ass if you
I'll
do
be your
this.
ass tenfold. Love
Yeah.
him. But then Aang says something cool where he's like, I couldn't save the world 100 years ago, so I'm going to save this one. I'm trying to
Mhm.
make up for that. And then we have, another weird thing too. It's like Iroh is with Zuko the whole time. Like this thing is that Zuko does this on his own. This is Zuko's own doing. This is his, Iroh lets him go by himself and be like, he grows by this. On this trip, Iroh's with him every step of the way, kind of
Yeah.
almost. Except for when he's underneath. We also have Zhao telling Zuko everything, and that we in the audience already know. This is at the end when they're fighting.
Because they love doing that.
Because they love doing that. Yeah, where he's like, "Oh, your sister and all this, and your dad thinks this, and by the way, audience and everybody else watching, this is what's actually going on with Zuko and his inner mind."
Hmm.
Zuko's like, "Why?" And weird. And then Iroh kills Zhao, not the moon spirit. Like
Yeah.
literally kills him. We see him burn him to a crisp and he falls off the bridge. We see his burnt body in there. And I was like, oh,
Raw.
okay. Raw. Raw. All right. Um, Another thing that's different is Katara tries to talk to Aang while he's in the koi spirit thing, Koizilla. And that kind of like we see Katara actually do in the second episode when he has his freak out,
Panic attack. Yeah.
panic attack. Yeah. Katara does this talking down to him thing, and that kind of works, but
Why?
he's not
Hey,
Aang.
you need him. He's Koizella. Let him do his thing.
Yeah, let him be Koizilla. And then Han actually does die in this one.
Yeah, confirmed. Rip.
Confirmed. We see his face and the face of the other guy who Katara was supposed to be in charge of. She sends him to his death. Why do we make that a point? That's not right. And then Katara is gifted the Spirit Oasis water. Instead, because we see later it's kind of implied that she took a little bit or that she has it in that little pouch that she has. And then at the end of the episode, instead of teasing Azula, we already have had Azula this whole episode. We see her
We've
with.
had Azula this whole.
We've had Azula this
season.
whole fucking time doing why, what, just at home. But at the end, we see her, she's taken Omashu.
Yeah.
So.
Which it's wild that they like start there with her. Like, because her arc now is starting there, really, because as you were just saying, the whole season she's just chilling at home next to the Fire Lord, essentially, which is like,
And it's like,
what she's doing.
why?
That's why she's not in book one at all, because that's all she's doing. She's just at home with the Fire Lord. Like, she's not sent out to do anything yet. Like,
and we don't need to see that.
But then it is weird. It's a weird decision to have it where, like, when season 2 is going to start, she's going to have been taken like Omashu. Like, that's odd. That's not
It's odd. Yeah,
That's
because she's
not
supposed to go out and
try
she
to find the Avatar, not
yeah,
just take
because
a
Zuko's doing
Martian.
bad and everybody else is
Yeah.
failing and Zhao failed. So she's like, I guess Azula's gonna be the only one who could do it.
Hmm.
But I do hate like all those little scenes that we do get inserted of Azula and Fire Lord Ozai because it
Hmm.
makes them look like they don't do anything. It makes them look
Yeah.
like that's all that they do is just stand at home, and it's like they're not imposing or menacing if we're
Seeing them
seeing
constantly do nothing.
do nothing. Yeah, I'm like I'm
Yeah.
not scared of them as a villain. They don't
And then of course
seem
you can't
imposing at
forget
all.
about our favorite post-credit scene where
Our
we finally
favorite post-credit scene.
where we
Um,
finally get the ticking clock for the entire like
with the
show.
same fire sage who apparently just knows everything that's in Washi Tong's library. This
Yeah.
fire sage has the Library of Alexandria in his brain already
Love that
downloaded.
for him, honestly.
So we don't
But yeah, so
need.
he's the one who's telling Ozai he's like about Sozin's comet.
So now our characters don't need to figure anything out.
Yeah,
They
but
just get told it.
the funny thing is that like now Ozai has the ticking clock, but like the gang doesn't know that they're on a ticking clock yet.
Yeah. So how are they gonna?
Like
And like, why do we need to see that? What is? You already teased Azula. Why do we need? I don't know. I don't get it. I am confusion.
yeah,
I
it
don't.
just doesn't make a ton of sense. And we also like because we don't get I was gonna say the spirit world stuff is different too, because like the whole like Zuko in the blizzard with Aang and all that stuff is just not
It's
in
not in there
the
at all. Yeah.
yeah, because
He.
they just stay in the main like section of the water.
Yeah.
The
Oh, and
Northern Water,
Zuko's
the
whole
city.
battle with Katara, that whole thing. Yeah, I it's a
She's
shame I
just like
didn't like that
outside of
battle
the
actually.
oasis, essentially, right?
Hmm.
If I remember, they're in like in a small room,
Yeah, they're in a small room that gets
and like she
hit
beats
later
him, which
on
is cool, but like
easily. Yeah,
it's not as cool.
there's like it's kind of not as cool. Yeah, it's pretty
I
slow.
will say like
But there were some things that we.
they did a mostly
Yeah,
good
I was
job
gonna.
of like just like beat for beat doing mostly beat for beat. Like they just
Mhm.
took the last three episodes and like made them the finale, which is good and works for the most part. They also do the like they do the red filter and they do the black and white filter,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, that's
uh,
right.
it looks bad both times.
This time, yeah, the red filter does look bad, and
It just doesn't translate. And also like I think we were talking about it. I don't remember if we talked about it during recording last week or before, but like e- even though they do for like 75-80% of it transfer these episodes beat for beat, it works a lot better in animation because it just like it's just kind of goofy. Like it's a
it's
kind of goofy
goofy. Yeah,
thing that's going on, and like you can really like do that in animation and it's fine and
you
it
can't be
works and it
that
feels
serious about it.
natural, but like it just really doesn't, it just doesn't work. It doesn't play the same in live action like in any way. it's it's odd.
So
I will
sad.
say I love how hammed up as a villain Zhao is still in the finale. He's
He is.
great. I
He
love
actually
how
that
just
actor,
like
he does a great job, especially with like
he's
line
the most
deliveries and
extra.
his. Yeah,
Oh yeah, he's like he's good. He crushes it. I'll give him that. But
and I do have
yeah,
to
it's just for
give
the most part things just don't.
maybe a controversial opinion, but I don't like the actor for Iroh in the live action. Like I
Really?
like him. I want to like him, but I think that they make him. It might be the directing. I don't know what it is, but it's just every line is so like it's somebody. It sounds like a middle school production of Shakespeare. Like kids like don't really like when actors don't really know what they're saying, but they're saying the lines anyways, or it's just so
Mm,
foreign to them.
yeah,
Like all the dialogue, it might be the dialogue too. Like it's just all so
tilted almost.
yeah, it's like a non-doctor trying to play a doctor on TV and say all of those terms. And
Mm,
I'm like, it just doesn't
yeah,
sound right coming out of his mouth, I
I like him
guess.
for the most part. I think
Mm,
the cast I think is overall pretty solid, even if
yeah.
their like
Cast is pretty solid.
writing isn't the best. That's not their fault though. They can
That's
only
not
do
the
so
yeah.
much.
That's like with the cast, that's where I give really easy on them because I'm like, they barely had anything to do with it. They just got
Yeah,
paid to say the lines and you do it too for a
yeah.
check, okay? I get
I'm sure
it.
that was a very nice check. Also,
That was
I'm just
probably a
like,
very nice
why?
check. You building up your resume. I would hey, I if I was casting that, I'd be like, hell yeah.
Hmm.
If I got cast in a hemorrhoid commercial, I'd be like, hell yeah, guys, check out my hemorrhoid commercial. Like, I'd be, yeah. As an actor, you get to that point where you're like, anything.
Yeah.
As long as I'm
Yeah,
booking.
no. The cast is good.
Cast
They're
is
solid.
good. They're solid.
Some
Finale, it's good. It's so good
it's
that it even makes the live action look good, you know?
yeah. It's pretty they did a solid job. We were too harsh in our initial
We are
assessment.
going to, yeah,
I
we
will
are
cut
going
them
to
some
admit
slack.
we were thinking back on our original assessment. Yeah, we were a little,
We were so
we
hard
were
on
mean.
it.
We were mean.
It was just
I think it
it
was
was the
most,
overall feeling of not being happy with the show as a whole. And so
yeah, it
that
was like
really
those
like
middle
clouded
episodes.
it.
The first couple of episodes, I was like, okay, I can do this. And then it was like the Spirited Away episode. And then it made me angry.
Don't even Spirited
Yeah.
Away. Get out of here.
And, ugh.
The audacity.
But these last two alone, standalone, without watching the other ones, I'm like, okay, it's fun. I'm entertained.
Yeah.
And isn't that the point?
Good job, Netflix. You did well.
You didn't make art, but you did make entertainment. There's that. That's my final say on what that is.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thing you want to say about live action?
No, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. I think we pretty much went all the
We got
points.
it. Yeah.
All right, guys. Then when we come back, we are going to be teasing what's coming with book 2. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Bending the Narrative, guys. To wrap up season 1 of Bending the Narrative, we wanted to tease what is to come in book 2 and discuss some of our favorite moments from season 1 of the podcast. Alex, what are you looking forward to most in book 2? And what are some of your favorite moments from season 1?
So, shocker to everyone. Things I'm looking forward to the most in book 2. Azula. Given
Azula.
the spotlight, of course. She's coming into the show. It's gonna be so great. I can't wait. It's just so good. So excited for that. But yeah, I mean, book 2 is super exciting. I think we talked about it a little bit last week. This is where the show really like kicks into major like high gear. It's
Yes.
it just goes from here. Like it's so hard. I remember the first time I was watching this series. It took me like a decent chunk of time to get through book 1,
Mm-hmm.
but then you like get to book 2 and it's so fun the whole time.
That's fair. I mean,
So
like
yeah,
it
we get
starts
that.
slow, but we get
Yeah,
there.
like you gotta lay all the groundwork, and I get it. But then like yeah, once you definitely on rewatch the whole time, you're like, oh, this is all so good because you know what it's
Mm-hmm.
leading towards. But like yeah, book
You
2
know,
is
the
just
payoff is worth it. Yeah.
yeah, like it's so good. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. There's a ton of great characters besides Azula. They get introduced. Her friends are super cool. You know, we get Toph and stuff. But then, yeah, it's just gonna be a super exciting stuff. Some of my favorite moments from season 1, I think just the like how great they were with all of the like world building and like lore and establishing that and really like getting to know these characters and like getting their
Mm-hmm.
personalities down. Like it's just great. I love talking about Avatar, so like it's
It's
been
so
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like doing this, they're like, oh, we have to film some more. And I'm like, oh no, I get to talk about Avatar some more.
Right?
I have
Yeah,
an
it's great.
outlet to vent.
Yeah, it's very fun. What are you looking forward to in book 2?
I am so excited to get to more Zuko content. And this is where Zuko gets so good. This is the
Hmm.
best Zuko. Well, I mean, best Zuko's book 3, of course, but
Yeah, we got to get there.
he's the best plot line. We got to get there.
Hmm.
But I'm very excited to explore him more, his relationship with Iroh and the Fire Nation. Obviously, Azula and her gang. I'm so excited to see Ty Lee. Ty Lee's always been my
Hmm.
favorite, and May. Very excited to see them. So the girl bosses.
Hmm.
The what is it like? Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. They
Yep.
do that.
Oh, 100%. That's
hundred
them.
percent.
That meme is
They are
based
the
on
best.
them. I will
It's
not hear
based
anything
on
otherwise.
them.
Like
That is them. I feel like May is gaslight. Ty Lee is gatekeep. Azula is
Zulu's girl
girl
boss.
boss. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that.
I can see
It's
that.
them. Yeah.
That's them. What else am I excited for? Oh my god, just so many of the more characters and everybody we meet, especially Toph. So
Mhm.
excited for her. Excited to
It's
meet the
so
Pebble.
wild that both Toph and Azula, like they're so integral to the show, and they don't show up until book 2. It's
It's crazy.
yeah, it's wild. them Bossing Say. We get to go to Bossing
You guys
Say
go to
and like
Blessing
do what.
Say?
There's no war in Bossing Say.
There's no war, guys. There's no war in Blessing Say.
It's gonna be that'll be wild to see. It's super exciting. Um,
I'm very excited for
yeah.
that. I am just excited too for a lot. We have a lot of awesome female characters that come in this second season. This
Mhm.
is my early feminism in my life. This show. It's the first time I was like, oh yeah, girls kick ass.
Yeah,
We could do it. So I'm
it's
very excited for
great.
that. I did love in this past season that we talked about is just going through and seeing all the details that I missed on my previous watches of this show and
Mhm.
learning all these fun facts and really diving deep into all of it.
Mhm.
It's just so fun when you really love a show that much and then you dig even deeper and it's still good and you don't find these. We rarely found any plot holes or any goofs. Like if there were, they were like such small little details that you miss only if you
Yeah.
really, really pay attention.
Yeah,
But
like we only saw it because we're literally diving deep and doing a podcast
diving
that's
deep
like
into
talking
it,
about
yeah.
all of it. Like, yeah, it's really cool. And it also like it goes to show how well made it is that there's so much new stuff that we're able to find in the
Yes.
like this is not my first time rewatching it, you know, like I've seen it a bunch and this is still
And I
like
still miss those things.
yeah, like there's still new things to see and fun things to talk about and like even more in there and it's so good.
It's so good. And how well it's aged too. Like I feel like
Hmm.
it's aging like some fine wine, you
Like there
know?
was what one joke that was not good.
One joke that we were
One
like, eh.
out of like 20 episodes.
Out of
Like
20 episodes, it was like Iroh flirting with a young girl, and we were like,
not the best.
not the best. But it was Iroh,
Yeah.
so you were like, he's harmless. Like, he's
Yeah,
cute.
like that's it. It's aged incredibly well for being
Yeah.
oh god, is this like 15 years old? Older than
2005?
almost 20 years old?
Almost 20 years old. Oh, what's
Yeah.
that gif of the Santa Claus? He grows the beard.
Oh yeah, that one or Benjamin Button.
Or Benjamin
Like
Button. That just happened to me. I think I just got another wrinkle hearing that. It's
Oh,
terrifying.
terrible. That is awful. Hate it. Hate it. Can't believe it's almost 20 years old.
I know, that's wild. Such a good show though. And I'm just so excited to get into season 2 somewhere and then eventually, or book 2, sorry,
Hmm.
and book 3 eventually. But we'll have to wait till the fall. We got to keep you guys waiting.
Yeah.
Just like the show. We're
So
not going to give it all away.
can't believe it. Do you have any more thoughts on where we're going or where we've been until we come back after,
No,
a brief hiatus?
I'm just excited. I'm ready for more. I love this show. It's just so good. And I just love talking. You can talk endlessly about how good it is.
Hmm.
And I'm
That's
glad
great.
yeah. Thank you guys for, tagging along with us so far.
Tuning
Tuning in.
in. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been awesome. So yeah, I guess that'll do it for our coverage on book 1 of Avatar. It's crazy. I can't believe we've done it. We've
We
gone
did
through the
it.
book. I remember when we were first sitting down to do the first couple. So yeah, thank you everyone so much for tuning in to Bending the Narrative. We've had a fantastic time going through book 1, and we cannot wait to dive into book 2 later this fall. But before we sign off, Kate, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram at KateVOfficial. That's it.
Awesome. And you can find me online at AP Batman with 2 T's. As always, please be sure to subscribe here to the Aspect Network on YouTube and any platform where podcasts can be found. Please give us a like, leave a comment, turn on that notification bell so you never miss an episode. And you can also follow us on Twitter/X, Instagram, and TikTok at the Aspect Co. Thank you so much for listening.
And filet me, oh, hot man.